If you're building a brand, personal, professional, or otherwise, do it with integrity so you can keep yourself out of prison. Let's talk about the rich and unemployed podcaster, Jonathan, who's now going to jail for a very long time. So, if you're not familiar with Jonathan Dupiton, let me give you some context. He's the co host of the Rich and Unemployed podcast, and their platform was really built around the topic of entrepreneurship, how to gain financial freedom, acquiring wealth, escaping the 9 to 5 grind. And quite honestly, that is appealing to a lot of people, particularly in this economy. But according to the U.S. Department of Justice, his wealth was built on fraudulent activity. So he, in fact, was rich and unemployed. Let's talk about it. Multi-convicted fraudster Jonathan Dupiton has been sentenced to 7 years in federal prison for using stolen identities to obtain millions of dollars in unemployment insurance benefits. Rich and unemployed. During the pandemic, while citizens were struggling with job loss and trying to make ends meet, Dupiton stole unemployment benefits by submitting false applications using hundreds of stolen identities, said U.S. Attorney Theodore Hetzberg. His sentence underscores that anyone who seeks to exploit taxpayer funded programs will be aggressively prosecuted and face substantial prison time. Jonathan Dupiton orchestrated a brazen scheme to steal millions in unemployment benefits using the stolen identities of innocent victims, all while already serving a sentence for fraud. That came from the FBI. At a time where Americans were facing unprecedented financial hardship, he chose to exploit a critical safety net for personal gain. According to the U.S. Attorney, the charges and other information presented in court in 2020 while completing a federal sentence at a halfway house for a previous fraud conviction that targeted the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, also known as SNAP or food stamps. Jonathan Dupiton, a podcaster, organized a multi-million-dollar fraud scheme that targeted California's unemployment insurance benefits program. That scheme began at least by July 2020 and continued until early 2021. Beginning in or about March 2020, in response to the COVID-19 pandemic, several federal programs expanded unemployment eligibility and increased unemployment benefits, including the Pandemic Unemployment Assistance Program. Dupiton's motto was "Fraud is dope," an acronym for finally rich after unstoppable determination. He obtained stolen identities of hundreds of unwitting individuals. He and his co-conspirators used the information to electronically submit false and fraudulent unemployed applications via the internet using a VPN, which helped encrypt the data and mask the actual originating Internet Protocol address, or IP address, thereby concealing the computer used to submit the fraudulent unemployment applications and delaying detection by law enforcement. After those claims were approved, Dupiton and his co-conspirators updated the claimant's information to add mailing addresses in the Northern District of Georgia, including his own address, for the delivery of debit cards containing the unemployment insurance benefits. After the debit cards were received, Dupiton and others went to ATMs, mostly located in the metro Atlanta area, and withdrew the fraudulently obtained funds. In total, they transferred approximately $3.8 million in unemployed benefits. Dupiton and his co-conspirators subsequently withdrew or otherwise spent more than $2 million in fraudulently obtained funds. On April 14th of 2026, Dupiton, 36 years old, of Atlanta, Georgia, was sentenced to 7 years in prison to be followed by 3 years of supervised release. He was ordered to pay restitution in an amount to be determined at a future hearing. Dupiton pleaded guilty to conspiracy to commit mail and wire fraud and aggravated identity theft on January 13th, 2026. I want to be independently wealthy just as much as the next person. But what we have to learn is that you cannot get online and create a brand around being wealthy, having obtained substantial wealth, with no real foundation for how that was acquired. The more visibility that you gain, the more attention that you receive, not just from your audience that you've established, but from those who will seek to want to know how you have acquired said wealth, success, or such a platform. I encourage you and implore you to lead with integrity when you are establishing a brand, whether it be personal or professional.